Welcome to the Hardestry podcast. This is Farah Yasmin Sheikh, and I am so thrilled for today's guest. It's somebody that I have gotten to know quite well over the past few months, and yet I know there is so much more to learn about her, and I'm so excited to share that with all of you. So please join me in welcoming Rana Nadya to Hardestry.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. How are you?
I am good. Well, again, disclaimer, you and I were just talking about this. You and I are both sounding a little different than we usually
Sick.
do. Tis the season
Yes,
for the flu.
which could also be a good thing. So we don't know how this turns out. I'm just counting on the post-edit for this one.
There you go. There you go. But Rana, of course, you are in Lahore, Pakistan, and we had a chance to meet ever so briefly when I was just there. But more importantly, the way I've gotten to know you over the past few months, and we're certainly going to talk about this aspect of who you are, and that is in this wonderful fitness training program that you offer virtually. Um, and yeah, I think I'm on my fourth month now and absolutely
MashaAllah.
loving it. And again, we will certainly talk more about that. But I've just been so deeply inspired, not just by this interaction I have with you, but just seeing and observing you now from various vantage points. So I'm excited to get into all of that, to say the
Oh,
least.
yes, dig deep. Let's do it.
Yes. Well, what I always love to actually start with is a little bit of your origin story. Anything
Okay.
you'd like to share with us about your personal family history, perhaps where you were born, brought up, anything of that sort? Eventually, it will lead us to the present.
Yes, it does. It always does.
Yes.
So I come from a family that has an army background, a military background, and ever since I was born, the focus on sports and physical activity was very important in terms of creating a discipline for me.
Mm,
I think my parents were so supportive when it came to any sport. They asked me whatever sport I wanted to choose, and I chose swimming. And they used to take me to these championships, to these galas, intercity, inter schools. Like they used to take me everywhere, and my mom used to wait outside. They wanted me to obviously, take it up a notch and swim for the Olympics. But when I started all of this, there weren't a lot of opportunities, especially for women, to
mm,
progress in sports. They weren't like proper training programs. They
mm,
weren't sponsorships over here that, helped you reach that level. So after a point, I had to make a decision. It was either education or it was sports. So I obviously chose education,
mm.
considering the future and everything, because if I became a swimmer, like, you know, अब आके तो फिर भी I feel people who are associated with sports, they do get the recognition, but back then none of them did.
Okay.
Um, they couldn't even earn a lot from this. Like I
Huh.
would have just become like a teacher, a swimming coach. That's the max I would have become, right?
Okay.
So I shifted all my energies towards my education. I did my BBA in finance and marketing. I did my MBA, business administration. After that, I joined like every other girl. Not girl, any other person who's been doing MBA, they know how they instill that, drive to find the perfect job, the
Right.
corporate job, right?
Yeah.
So I landed a very good job for myself, mashallah, and I was one of the very few people that got their jobs while I was doing the MBA.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I kept switching jobs. I wasn't sticking to any job for more than like 5 months max, 4 or 5 months. And
Why?
I
What was making you?
so I couldn't figure out at that time. I thought it was the financial part of it
Huh.
because I kept getting like better offers, but it was never the financial part.
Mm,
Now that I realize about it, I just wasn't. Corporate was something that wasn't, I think requires a lot of patience.
mm,
And, honestly, people who are doing it, like kudos to them, hats off to the resilience that they have. But I
mm,
felt I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to do something that I have the power of owning, the decision making process. I can break the barriers in my workspace according to myself. So it's all about the individual part of me, not about owning a business, not the pride that comes with it.
Mm,
That was very secondary. The
mm,
financial part was also very secondary. I think it was more about how I wanted to be in control of my life and decisions. And
yeah.
I started fitness training as an extra pocket money for myself when I was in my
Okay.
BBA. I started at a local gym over here. I started training women. I started taking HIIT classes, and it stayed as a sideline pocket money making,
Sure.
cash cow for me.
Yeah.
But it never became my primary source of like career wise. I just felt again it was something that in Pakistan wasn't considered like a full-time job.
Mm,
It's always been a sideline thing for trainers over here. I
sure.
feel trainers in Pakistan are very underrated. So after that, once I wasn't getting a hang of corporate too well, I left corporate and I started an event management
Okay.
business. And from there too, I shifted towards clothing for a while. And then the thing was, whatever I was doing, taking that one class every day at the gym as a trainer was something that I never let go of. No
Yeah.
matter what I was doing, I was coming at 10 at night. I was getting feel late. I was waking up early, but I took that one class that made me feel alive. And
Yeah.
I hung to that, and I realized that that's something that I want to do. Why am I not putting my energies towards that? If that is
Yeah.
something I'm not letting go of and everything else is just changing in my life, why not
Mm,
just focus on what is bringing me happiness? And then I shifted full time towards it. I started an online platform. Since I've been through this journey in the last 7 years, I understand how trainers over here are not
mm,
valued. Given the time they put in, given all they study, the human
yeah.
anatomy, trainers are almost doctors. The
Yeah.
amount of physiology and anatomy they have
Yeah.
to study. So I wanted to, launch a platform that not only caters to clients all over the world, women all over the world, but I also wanted to bring forward female trainers who,
Uh,
like I struggled in my career, for them to outshine and have a platform to get recognized for the work that they're doing. And mashallah, alhamdulillah, it's been going good.
yeah.
It's going to almost be a year now, and you've been a part of it, so you know how
Yes.
the kind of atmosphere we try to
Yeah.
create. It's not just the physical part of things that we focus on. My agenda was always to focus on the mental, the
Yeah.
emotional, all the other aspects that are involved in self-discovery and self-love.
Mm,
So I wanted to push that as much as possible.
mm. Beautiful. I have so much I want to say to all of that. Let's go ahead though and take our first break. So we'll just put ourselves
Okay.
on mute for a moment. Welcome back to Heartistry. This is Farah, and today I am in conversation with Rana Nadya and hearing a little bit about, just really what brought you to your present phase in this journey of your life. And I think it's just really lovely to call out just, I think that skill, it is something I believe that is innate in just about everybody, but not everybody actually knows how to hone it. And specifically, it is knowing when something is not working for you. And so,
Yes.
like you said, to be able to constantly say, okay, wait, this is not working. This is not working, even if you don't understand the factors yet. And yet, the thing that's always been on the back burner. Why? Why can't that come forward? What would make that be the mainstay in my life? I think that's just such an important message.
Yeah. It is. And I think, like I said, everyone struggles with that at some point in life
Yeah.
because, we don't know what the goal is. Like, we know what the goal, we've set a goal, like, we want to be accomplished in life. We want
Yeah.
financial stability. We want the freedom and everything. But how to get there? What's the way to get there? There's very less input given into that. And that
Yeah.
is something that comes with experience. I had to experience everything to
Mm.
realize what I want, right? And people just give up with two or three failures in life, they are done. So I just
Yeah.
think, you need to keep experimenting in your life to figure out that this is what you want. Just don't be scared of that.
I love that 100%. So, okay, so you mentioned it's been about a year since you've created essentially more of this online community. Is that correct? So, prior to that, were you going into gyms specifically, working in that environment? So it was all, and was it group classes, one on one?
I was doing in-person classes too. I started at my home studio
Okay.
in an apartment. I had this space and I started, uh, calling people in. I was working with someone else initially at a gym, but again, like I said, I wanted my goal always was to do something on my own, right?
Mm,
So when I left corporate, obviously it was like a big jump and I couldn't
yeah.
just start something overnight for myself. I had to get some more experience into things of how things are done at a gym, how people are running their spaces, to
Yeah.
get the administration and the organization part of it.
Yeah.
I did do some hours and work at a gym, and then I started my own home-based in-person trainings, and then COVID happened, and I think everyone's nature of work changed after COVID, right? We probably would not be doing this
Right.
if it, yeah, like
Right.
if COVID
Yeah.
didn't make it a thing. So
Yeah.
COVID made this virtual a thing, and it helped me create that platform because I feel geographically the change that I want in women's mindset and the change I want in their lives should not be geographically restricted. I
Yeah.
wanted to cater to everyone and all women around the world and try to bring the change collectively because I feel a lot of women who are not in Pakistan and are living abroad, they're more helpless. They don't have
Yeah.
their own people over there.
Yeah.
They don't have the communities to help them. So I feel this online platform helps connect them to us and us to them. And it helps us collectively bring the change. And I started loving online so much that I completely left in-person training, and online became such a handful of work and job that I've completely shifted the whole platform to online now.
Amazing. And what's so phenomenal about it, and again, this is firsthand experience, is, and as you know, I'm a dancer. And for me, virtual is really difficult. I haven't been able to hit that stride. Sure, I had to pivot like everybody else did for those couple of years. And then I tried offering sort of that hybrid of some classes virtual, some in person. I still just haven't been able to. Granted, there's, issues with music and rhythm and making sure someone's dancing in tal, so to speak. So
Yeah.
different factors on one hand. But what I am just constantly impressed by, inspired, it makes me think like, oh, do I want to revisit the model in observing you is your ability to really make that connection through the screen
Yeah.
with people. I mean, you just really got that keen sense of observation, of offering corrections. And then you take it even outside of that 1 hour. And
Hmm.
just through this very simplistic platform of a WhatsApp group, you
WhatsApp.
can
Yeah.
feel this amazing connection. Again, I'm always like saying the banter, the commentary, it's hilarious. Some people are sharing memes, some sharing, random thoughts. We have to share our food, like what we're eating, just to kind of keep ourselves accountable to making sure we're getting enough protein and this and that. It's really something that feels so simplistic and organic and so deeply connected.
Yeah.
It's really quite phenomenal. And so when you moved to this now, like you said, you're doing this exclusively.
Hmm.
You also, the particular group that I'm in is also with Mariam Hussein. How did
Yeah.
that come to be? Mariam being a content creator, the two of you, your interaction is, I always jokingly say it's like we work on abs every day with the laughter we get from the two of
With
you.
the laughing. Yes. So, like, there's one thing about me that I feel whatever work I'm doing, I always want to be different from everyone else. Like, everyone's doing fitness training classes, they're doing the physical aspect of classes. But my
Mhm.
goal was always to create a community that helps you in all walks of life, not
Yeah.
just in, your physical health. It needs to feel like a friend. Sometimes I do feel the line is a little blurred, and sometimes people don't, consider me as a trainer. I'm either a psychiatrist or a friend for them. But I
Yeah.
feel, being that for them, that is going to help them achieve their goals more, I feel. Someone who's just a dictator and telling you what to do,
Yeah.
what not to do, and just keeping it like one and zero, black and white. I feel we've all had that relationship with teachers at our school, and that wasn't a relationship we remember our whole lives, right? That's not something that taught us a lot.
Or if
If
you remember
any,
it, it's not for good reason.
exactly. If we've ever had any mentor in our life, it's only because, they
Yeah.
connected to our soul somehow. They connected to like deeper e- us, the layers
Yeah.
we have, they connected and they pass through those layers to reach us and
Right.
bring a change in us, right? So I always wanted to be
Mm.
that person for clients. I wanted girls over here to own not their bodies but their mental health too. And yeah, that was the goal. And Mariam was someone when I started this online, I feel now is uh, if we talk about the business side of it, now
Mm.
is the time where, it's a world. I feel it's not a world of competition anymore. It's a world of collaboration now. I
Mm.
feel the more we collaborate with people, the more we grow. So Mariam, I reached out to, we had a lot of mutuals. I've met Mariam once actually in Karachi, but we didn't talk a lot. I was very unwelcoming at time. And Mariam and I keep laughing at that initial time we met because I didn't know her. And then I
Mm.
reached out to her on Instagram, was like, hey, are you interested in training? Because I heard she was looking for a trainer. And then, yeah, we hit it off. We started one-on-one trainings, and I loved her aura so much.
Yeah.
I felt like I was training her, but in a way, she was also giving me, those words of
Beautiful.
affirmation and that like it felt like I'm talking to a sister the whole time I was
Yeah.
doing the class. It just felt so good. And I was like, why do I only get to experience this? Why not the people that I'm trying to train?
Mm.
Why not everyone get, and we all love Mariam. We all want Mariam in our lives.
Mm.
So yeah, I just pitched the idea to her, okay, we've been training since a while. Why not like make it into a collaborative thing
Yeah.
where you also benefit from it and I also benefit from it. And yeah, it just started
It's
from
been
there.
awesome. It's been awesome. And Rana, I just have to commend you because so much of what you're saying, you can tell that there's just a very sort of reflective, introspective process that you go through. And, I reference these words ego and vanity a lot. It's something that my Guruji used to bring up. And
Okay.
he would say, ego is actually something that we need. Ego is like it's this thing that sort of pushes you to do the
Hmm.
next thing for yourself or get out of your comfort zone. When ego becomes vanity is when it becomes detrimental, right?
Hmm.
But so
Yeah.
much of what you're saying is just this ability to keep challenging yourself, but to never gatekeep, to never, it's not about you. It's
Yeah,
it's
never.
the benefit is the larger, again, community, as you keep saying. And I
Yeah,
want to name that because it's something that we need to be reminded and inspired by. And you're really
we
emulating
do.
that.
I feel as women women were always, pitting one another against
Yeah.
each other. And like, I just feel we're always in this constant battle of competition,
Yeah.
that I feel you can never progress in society or career anywhere if you do not, if owning your power is just like a personal journey, you're not going to get that far, ahead. I feel it should be a collective one because only a woman can understand what the other woman is going through and the struggles. Like I could understand the struggles of my fellow trainers, women especially. So I
Yeah.
could relate, and that's why I wanted to bring them on board too. And honestly, every trainer that I've hired till now, I don't like the word hired. I like to call it a partnership. But every trainer I've partnered with, I feel they've helped me grow more too. I've learned so much. Like you've trained with Alina, you've taken other classes too, and you've realized how amazing people are. You would have never learned about them if there
Yeah.
wasn't any form of collaboration over here. So I feel
Right.
that's very important.
Beautiful. Let's take our second pause here.
Okay.
Welcome back to Heartistry. We're speaking today with Rana Nadya and hearing about all these aspects of you. Um, we've been talking again about your journey with the fitness training and such, and again that you were exploring other avenues prior to that, and yet you are still also you have other businesses simultaneously,
Mm.
correct? Tell us a
Yes.
little bit about those.
So, I always feel women need to have multiple sources of income, not just women. I feel anyone needs to have
Mhm.
multiple sources of income. You never know, COVID happened and we learned that through COVID. Again, thank you
Yeah.
to COVID. We learned how important, different sources of income are. One can shut down in like seconds and minutes. You never know what happens, and because of that, I just wanted to make sure whatever I am doing, it is something I'm interested in. So it's not something I give up on because I've been giving up on a lot of things in the
Mm.
past. And that kind of made me, doubt myself a lot. There was like a
Huh.
constant fear of failure, and a lot of burden I put on myself at that time. Okay, why isn't, whatever I want to do? Yeah, why can't I figure out what I want to do? So, uh, I started a clothing brand, and from the clothing brand, I started a candle brand within that clothing brand, and I that started as a very therapeutic thing for me. I wanted to do something, that calmed my nerves down. So I got these candle making kits for myself, and I started making candles at home, and that therapy turned into a business because I was like, if this is something I enjoy so much, why
Yeah.
not research more? Why not study about it? And why not like sell it to people? If I'm good at it, I'm, going to put my heart and soul into it, and I'm going to be good at it, in making the product. So, yeah, that's how candles started. And yes, I'm doing candles along with my fitness training these days.
Amazing. And what's the name of the candle company?
It's Mirana candles.
Yes. And do you is it mainly in-person sales in Pakistan? Do you do online?
We do online. We have a website. We
Okay.
do online. We actually do all over Pakistan. And
Okay.
we usually have exhibitions. We do pop-ups because candle is something that people prefer. We have return and retention online, but a lot of
Yeah.
people want to smell the candle before they buy the candle. So we try
Sure.
doing as many pop-ups in different cities in Pakistan. Like we've done Karachi, Islamabad, Lahore. So we try expanding geographically like that.
Yeah, beautiful. So I'm curious to know, I mean, you've touched on them here and there, but if it's anything um you can talk about a little bit more, clearly there's lessons you've learned to get you to where you are today.
Hmm.
You've touched on some of those, but being in the space that you are, granted it's virtual, but you are still based in Pakistan. You are still working with majority of women who have
Hmm.
some connection to Pakistan and or the Islamic faith. What,
Yeah.
if anything, does that pose as unique I almost don't even want to say challenges, but scenarios. Because, women owning our bodies, moving, all of these things, is that anything you've ever come up against? I'm just curious to know. I mean, granted, it's a little bit of me being extra curious because I think as a dancer, I definitely do. But I'm curious to know if in your
Hmm.
space that's ever anything you've experienced.
Are you asking about the challenges I face in terms of clients or the virtual aspect of my business?
I suppose it could be any of the above. Is there anything that, yeah, maybe even in the virtual dynamic, is there anything, whether it's privacy issues, whether it's, again, just getting women to
Hmm.
feel more comfortable being, I mean, granted, if they're showing up, they're showing up. So I recognize that for what it is. But
Yeah.
even prior to this time and space where obviously your classes are quite full, things are going well, was there ever a time where you almost had to change that mindset for women to just step out of what otherwise they thought was not
Yes.
accessible?
Of course, of course. I feel, a few days ago, someone asked me this question, okay, what is the biggest challenge you faced when you started this business? And I think the biggest challenge was my target market is women, right? I wanted to bring a change in women for the better. And changing the mindset when I started this work was something that I think was the biggest barrier I had to break. Now, so there's because of social media, thanks to social media, there's a lot of awareness, but still, I feel I struggle explaining to women, especially because they have this, association with strength training being making you bulky. They
Yeah.
have this association where if they have protein, they're going to look bulky and manly. So there was all these mindsets and weight loss. Everyone wants shortcuts in life, and that's not a woman problem. I feel that's an overall humanity problem, where
Yes.
people just want shortcuts. People want, they have don't realize the amount of time it took for them to reach that point where they're not happy with themselves,
Yeah.
or the double amount of time to get where they want to get. It's not something that can happen overnight, right? And I feel changing that mindset, I still do that. I have to reassure my clients every day that, don't negative self-talk yourself, don't self-doubt. If you set a goal, you need to reach that goal, work for it every day. Every day is going to be a struggle, and if you do reach that goal, that doesn't mean you give up. You still maintain that, right? And I'm talking about physical goals that women have. So changing, still Abhibi, I struggle with explaining the whole body recomposition aspect of it, where you're gaining muscle and you're losing fat, because people are so hell bent on losing on the weighing scale. They don't
Yeah.
understand that body recomposition is not about your weighing scale anymore. That's a very outdated measure or a metric to know where you are physically and your physical. Even BMI, I feel
Mm,
it's such an outdated way to see
mm,
if you're healthy or if you're fat or you're not,
right.
which is not right. I feel you should measure your inches. I always try to promote that. But then again, you were in the group too. You've also seen girls how, they also don't want to measure themselves because they're
Mm,
afraid of what they'll see.
huh,
So there's constant fear in women of looking a certain way, of fitting into certain clothes. And I try to change that as much as possible, because I try to explain it's not an overnight thing until and unless, yes, if you have a health problem, and your doctor has told you you need to lose weight within like a month or two, then obviously you do drastic changes. That's when people, come on a Zempic, or that's when
yeah.
people come on these surgical ways to combat that. But if you've set your mind to train your body physically, strength train, and the benefits that come with it, forget the weighing scale. And that's something I still struggle with every day, trying to explain to clients, because every day, I also get how it's demotivating when you're standing on the weighing scale every day, you're obsessed with the weighing scale, and it's not going down. Sometimes it goes up because you're gaining
Yeah,
muscle, right? And
exactly.
trying to explain that, and when you start working out, your body's in a shock. So you got to give it that time for adaptation. And everyone's timeline is very subjective and different. Your body reacts very differently to certain foods, to physical activity. and people just don't want to put that time into it or patience into it. They want overnight results.
Yeah.
And yes, and online, that's one of the things I struggle in terms of mindset.
Mm,
And as long as the online platform and the nature of this is concerned, I feel that's become easier because,
mm,
I'm just a text away now.
yeah.
So even if you come to my gym and you go after an in-person session, I'm still a text away. You're still virtually
Yeah.
in contact with me, and I'm trying to make you understand things on one-on-one basis. Like I said again, I'm not just someone a dictator. I
Yeah.
want to understand your body with you, and I want you to understand where you are right now and what your goal is and how you can reach that, because we compare a lot. When we see someone achieving something, by achieving, I mean losing a few pounds or fitting into certain clothes, I feel we start comparing and we start getting demotivated if that's something we
Mm.
are not,
It's not happening for
associating.
us.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not happening. And it does, you just got to give it time. So I think the mindset in terms of strength training will not make you bulky, and you need to put in time uh, to see the results that you want to see. These are the two main things that I struggle with a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it all makes perfect sense. It really does.
Yeah,
And again, going back to even just the conversations, the WhatsApp groups that take place, as those things come up, then it becomes people sharing sort of their experiences, which are
yeah,
sometimes based in, hey, even it's comes from you, it gets reinforced by somebody else saying, yes, and I even da 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 da. So it's that the community becomes almost the soundboard for each other,
yeah.
right?
It
It's
does.
really lovely. It's really lovely. So do you imagine right now you do have other instructors that you've brought on? Do you imagine continuing to grow this platform? Are you happy with sort of where it is and keeping it at yes? What are your thoughts as you look into
So,
the short future, if you will?
yeah, one day at a time, right?
Yeah.
I feel I'm someone, which I don't think is good, but I'm someone over the years who's become very realistic when it comes to goals, or
Mm,
setting them. I feel I if I set my goals too high, I feel I start putting that needed pressure on myself to reach that goal, and I mess
yeah.
everything up. So
Mm,
I'm just going to take it one day at a time, because when I started this platform, it was only me alone. I've been taking classes on my own 7 years now, online and offline in person. And only reason for starting this platform was because I was getting in the clientele that I couldn't manage on my own, and I didn't want that clientele to, go away.
yeah.
I wanted them under my umbrella. I wanted them, under my guidance, and a team that I create that has those same um, beliefs and same way of thinking and passion and strengths and values when it comes to changing people's lives. And growing right now, it was honestly something that I didn't plan.
Mm,
It just happened. I
yeah.
was Sarah was actually someone who was working for the company I was working with before.
Oh,
And she was
okay.
also jobless at that time. And she reached out to me. It's like, if you ever need help with any work, so let me know. I was like, of course, Sarah, join my team. And,
Awesome.
we started with such less salary packages. And I was like, Sarah, just stay with me. And I promise, when we grow, inshallah, it'll be fruitful for both of us. Um, so, yes, she got on board. She believed in, the whole concept of it
Yeah.
more than I did. That's why she's been there since like day one. And
Mm,
I'm so thankful for the team I have since day one. I feel I've been very lucky. I've lucked out in terms of people who I've partnered with for this venture. So our next step obviously is to stay within the virtual world, but also progress within that. Like I
Mm,
plan on making it more like I want to launch a website so things are more streamlined. I want to start more equipment online that you can buy.
amazing.
I want to start more blogs. So all of that is in works, but I want to grow virtually. I don't think I plan on doing physical right now because
Okay.
I feel once you tap into the global, the horizons are like very, very vast when it comes to global clientele, when it comes to reaching. I feel once you're restricted to one area, because even when you start an
Yeah.
in-person or a gym physically too, I feel you won't get people from outside your 5 kilometer
Yeah.
radius. It's just
Right.
going to be confined to that one little circle.
Yeah.
No one's going to come from Gulberg to DHA for me. So,
Yeah.
without wasting those extra minutes of your day, without wasting your petrol, which are two more very important things, uh,
Yes.
time. So, why not just stay at, your comfort at your own home and have a class with me and still make me part of your lives? So, that's something I believe in now, and that's something that I'll grow within this platform. Like obviously there's so many things you can do. You can launch an app. When I started this venture, a lot of people asked me, actually, they were like, why don't you start an app and do this like the other way? And I was like,
Mm,
no, I just feel apps and all of this, they work well, of course, and they're more like, in terms of organization, it's more streamlined and it's better, yes. But you know I feel they see women, they need that connection.
yeah.
That connection comes with a lot of ease. Once you
Agreed.
have to go through an app or something, I just feel it becomes so like difficult for a lot of women to understand.
Yes.
Like some women are still struggling to get a hang of Zoom. So Zoom एक बड़ा step उनके लिए. So how can I launch an app for women who are, homemakers? They're at home. They struggle with technology a little. That's also my target audience,
Mm,
because everyone deserves,
yes.
uh, you know, um, to
I love that.
get that self. Love and to teach them and be part of the community. Like I can't differentiate uh, like someone. I get clients who they're like कि, हमें English नहीं आती, तो if you can like talk in Urdu or explain it. I'm like, yes, of course, why not?
Yeah.
And I don't differentiate in terms of anything when it comes to no age groups, like no social strata or anything. Like
Yeah.
this platform needs to be accessible to and for everyone. So yeah, that's my goal. And I
Oh,
want
well,
to
it's
grow
already in
online too,
motion.
like
I mean,
not in
that's,
person or physical.
yeah, no,
It
those goals
is,
are
Alhamdulillah. Yes.
literally they're already showing themselves. And so I think it's the reminder to anybody that when
Thank
you
you.
set
Yeah.
goals, it's your values, your principles, right? So if you keep that as your moral compass, even if
Yeah.
something in quotes grows, you still keep it, you're able to keep checking back in with that, which is so lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Yes.
take our final break here.
Always. And yes, you need to
Yes.
grow your, yeah, sure.
No, finish your thought. Sorry, you had a thought. You need to grow your.
I forgot what I had to
Oh,
say, but
oh good. Oh, good.
I don't
Okay.
remember. Also,
It'll
I'm gonna
come
get
back.
water, okay?
Sounds good.
It good?
Well,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Welcome back to Heartistry. This is Farah Yasmin Sheikh, and I've been having such an enjoyable conversation today with Rana Nadya, as I knew I would. But it's really just been a joy. And yeah, I
Same.
just I'm just so grateful. Life just leads you in very interesting directions. And,
It does.
I've been very forthcoming about this. You have us do these intros every time we start a new monthly session. And, even for, I'm pretty certain I'm probably one of the oldest ones in the group.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm very forthcoming about my age. I literally just turned 48 this week. And yes, I lead a very active lifestyle. And so, on one hand, that's what people see, and understandably so. But then I also hope to be, and I think I feel very comfortable in the space that you've created. I hope to be able to be an example of yes, and, this is my lifestyle. And so, on one hand, I get to be very active. And so, movement comes with some relative ease. And yet, aging is aging. I am hitting perimenopause. And because of my profession, it is more important that I am caring for myself, in the ways that will support that mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So I'm just so grateful that, life has led me to you and to
To me.
interact. Yeah, it
Yes.
really is something special. And I think I
I'm
know
so
you
glad
know.
you're part of this. Yes, I do. And, it's a success for me. My biggest win is when a client comes back after a month to me.
Mm,
That just shows that the time and effort that I've put into this, they acknowledge that, and it
yeah,
means something to me. When a client does not come back, that's when, like I start questioning a lot of things. Okay, what was the
sure.
reason? Was it something, on your behalf, like some life happened, or was it something that you didn't like over here? So, I feel I acknowledge every client, no matter who they are. And age is something that is so inspiring. Mariam also is, 40 May, and about to reach 40. She hates it when I say this.
She makes sure she's not there yet.
So, yeah, yeah. She's not there, guys, yet. She is not. But not just mine, but generally, I have like women who are in their 60s in my class. And
Amazing.
initially, I put them forward as an example for everyone in class. I was like, listen, if they can move at this age, but everyone's journey is different. So someone
Yeah.
realizes when they reach 60 that they have to move, and someone has been moving their whole life, and at 60, they're the fittest.
Yeah.
So the very
Yeah.
different kinds of people. It's not just
Absolutely.
about 60, even someone in their 30s, someone would be struggling health wise because they
Yeah.
haven't moved a muscle in their lives, they haven't done any kind of sports. And someone who's been active since their last 30 years, they're going to have a very different, they're going to lead a very different kind of body language, confidence, and general energy. you know
Yeah.
so there's a lot of difference, and I don't think age is a very big factor. I think we blame a lot of things on age कि metabolism slow हो जाता है, ये हो जाता है,
Yeah.
वो हो जाता है, hormonal changes आ जाते हैं. Yes, that happens, but if you're someone who's been taking care of their body since they were a kid, and they had that exposure, they knew what to do and what not to do, and they started at a young age does not matter. Trust me, if you have muscle and if you retain that muscle till you're 50 or you're 60, trust me, you're going to be fitter than a 30-year-old who hasn't
Right.
moved.
Right. Yeah.
That's the beauty of
And
muscle.
again, even if you haven't had that in your life, it's never too late to start.
Of course, never.
Yeah.
But the thing is, in a lot of desi,
Mm.
I feel societies, until and unless the doctor tells you to do it,
Uh,
it's a big question
Interesting.
mark. So,
Yeah.
by the time you start having heart problems, you're
Yeah.
diabetic, um, your doctor gives you that alarming, notion that you have to start, that's where women all actually seriously start thinking about it. And that
Right.
sometimes it's too late for that. Obviously, not too late to start, but whatever damage you've done, that's a little irreversible
Sure.
after a point. So you have to think about these things at a very young age.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely fair. Yes. Well, Rana, I always love to sort of close my conversations with a question about this concept of artistry. So it's the word heart and artistry put together. And when I launched this podcast back in 2020,
Hmm.
it's really been about, and since it's been about speaking with people that are bringing a passion, compassion, and commitment to whatever they're doing. And yes, I get to speak to a lot of artists, creatives, and I'm always just curious to know, either while I'm talking about it right now or when you saw this word artistry, what, if anything, it invokes for you.
Now that you asked me and you've told me, the concept behind it, um, I think art and heart for me, for someone who has zero aesthetic in her life, I feel art, okay, let's just consider art as the work, and heart is the effort and, the everything, the soul and everything that you put into that work. I feel one message that I'd love to give when I think about putting your heart into something is never to wait for the perfect moment, never to wait for the perfect body, or never to wait for the perfect motivation, because you're not going to have that every day. The perfect moment will never come.
Mm,
Um, sometimes your heart is not always, and by heart I mean motivation, sometimes it's
yeah.
not always going to be there, but once you start getting into the momentum of it, you're going to start loving what you're doing, and it's going to help you get through one of the toughest days and challenges in your life. If you create that momentum for yourself, if you create that discipline for yourself, it's going to be a very powerful force, and you're going to outshine, and the art is going to show in your body and in your work, only and only if you start taking action consistently. That comes in terms of fitness training too. As you know, the more action you take, the more momentum you build, and the more, you start reaping the fruits. So just make sure that you're consistent with whatever you put your heart and soul into, and it will show one day.
Mm. Beautifully said. And the only thing I'll disagree is that the zero aesthetic part. Because, I mean, honestly, I mean, just the way one holds their body, even for
Yeah.
accuracy of, you know, just preventing an injury and getting the most out of a movement or an exercise, that's aesthetic. And those candles you make, what are those again? Yeah.
Scented candle.
Right.
Yes. But
So I
ask
beg to
Reem,
differ on that.
I am the worst person when it comes to, I think the social media part of it, I think I struggle with. And that's where team building comes, right? That's where
Yeah.
you partner with people who excel in their work, and bring them on board, because you can't master everything. You can't
Yeah.
be good at everything. You There has to be something you lack, and someone else fills that puzzle in you, and that's
100%.
how beautiful it is, where
And
you
that is
accept people for
artistry.
what they do.
That's creating
Yes.
your artistic flow for sure. Oh,
Yes.
Rana, I'm
Yes.
so glad we did this, even in the midst of both of us
Me
feeling a little
too.
under the weather. It certainly perked me up, even though I've
But
got
I
a
feel
stack of
better. I've
tissues.
forgotten about being sick. That's the beauty of having a good time.
Yes, yes. Well, again, thank you not just for this conversation, for all that you're doing. I can say yes for me personally, but for so many, directly,
Thank you.
indirectly. I really, really hope that you know how appreciated your presence is
I am
to so
humble.
many.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Means a lot.
And again, thank you for your time on Hardest Street.
Thank you for having me. See you for on Monday.